Corman and Drosten were provided with the theoretical genome sequences used to create their PCR protocol by Chinese scientists. The Corman-Drosten Protocol was submitted to the WHO on January 13th, 8 days prior to the date it was submitted to the medical journal Eurosurveillance for peer review. The WHO released the Corman-Drosten Protocol on January 21st, the same day it was submitted to Eurosurveillance. Drosten sits on the board of Eurosurveillance, a conflict of interest. The Corman-Drosten Protocol was accepted by Eurosurveillance the very next day, January 22nd, the same day the WHO confirmed human-to-human transmission, an extraordinarily quick turnaround, as peer review for scientific journals typically takes weeks to months. Of all 1,595 publications at Eurosurveillance since 2015, not one other research paper was reviewed and accepted in fewer than 20 days, or the Corman-Drosten Protocol, which was published on PubMed on January 23rd. The most glaring issue is the fact that, at the time the protocol was submitted, there was no good reason to believe widespread PCR testing would even be necessary. According to BBC News and Google Statistics, there were 6 deaths worldwide on January 21st, 2020, the day when the manuscript was submitted.
Right now, there are about 300 cases with 6 deaths, which mean of those.
Why did the authors assume a challenge for public health laboratories while there was no substantial evidence at that time to indicate that the outbreak was more widespread than initially thought? The biggest issue being the fact that the entire test is based on theoretical sequences supplied by China. The first and major issue is that the novel coronavirus SARS-CoV-2 is based on in silico sequences supplied by a laboratory in China because at the time, neither control material of infectious or inactivated SARS-CoV-2 nor isolated genomic RNA of the virus was available to the authors. The PCR protocol developed by the CDC, likewise based on theoretical genome sequences supplied by China, fared little better than the Corman-Drosten Protocol. The E-Charité, Corman-Drosten, and N2 US CDC assays were positive for all specimens, including negative samples and negative controls, water. Together, these 2 PCR protocols account for the vast majority of COVID-19 PCR tests conducted in the nations. Both rely on theoretical sequences from China, and both produce wildly inaccurate results, testing positive for all specimens, including negative samples and plain water.
Well, because the disease is not existing. It's not there. Well, because the disease is not existing. It's not there.